Good morning, everybody. This is Tantra Mott. I had something happen this morning that I want to make public. I'm a psychic, a seer. I can't believe I said psychic. Psychic, as in someone who is inside the beauty and majesty of the human soul. Seer, facilitator of consciousness, prophetess, everyday human being, woman, wisdom keeper, light giver, elder. You just got my resume. Um, I would receive through transmission 7 cravings and 2 observings back before 2013. They've mostly been in-house, although they've been part of 2 books, Template 1 and 2, Template 3 and 4, Template 1 and 2, and The Mind of Creation, Your Original Design, and Templates 3 and 4, You as the Mind of Creation. And I never promoted them because I really felt strongly that people needed to find their way to the templates because their neural programming would begin to expand into the multidimensional nature of who they are, and they wouldn't be trapped, even though we still have that mechanized, weaponized thinking, into the neural patterns of survival at all costs. If you notice, we were born into a reality of survival at all costs. One of the entrapments is finances, money, and the various aspects of that. One of our highest survival models. So for myself, because I'm 78 and I don't want to be at the effect of that, back in November, I started a complex 3-point MetaPoint template 5, that I'm in the process of writing a book about. The beauty of the books is that you enter into the mind of those templates. I know people think they're reading objective information, but actually you enter by reading the books and doing the creation exercises of the templates, you actually enter into the minds of the templates. So humanity cannot expand their point of view if they continue to live in the mindset that they were presently born into. And I want to read you something. I don't have permission to say the author of it, but this is someone who has not done the templates, who has not been inside the work that we've been doing. But the whole point of doing work in resonance and coherence is that it taps into the higher brain waves of our complex consciousness that actually starts to think within the mind of creation itself. And when you can think within the mind of creation itself, you become part of the expression of creation in your own life, but you also influence the expression of creation in the collective and in the human collective. So I wanted to read this because it sparked something in me, and you may not understand it because but it is part of a neural wiring that our neuroplastic minds are really struggling to get access to. Not the information, but the perception is relational. It's not about objectifying something. She's clearly in relationship with creation, and she's clearly struggling with the language of the mind of creation, which is what these books are about. Dear Tantra, I've been playing with some words to capture the essence of what you've spoken about. The language to fully articulate this kind of shift is still forming as it transcends traditional boundaries of understanding. So I've been doing prophetics, and it's been shocking, the shift in consciousness that we're in. And why I work with the mental mind, the structure of perception in the mental mind, is because it's a barrier to trusting our direct experience. To me, it seems to have a form, perhaps akin to what DNA might look like, or new pathways forming, almost like an entirely new design or matrix I've been seeing, matrix. I've been seeing it as a meta evolution or quantum awakening, like a metaphoric bridge you've created. It might connect to concepts like the quantum field, morphogenic field, or the unified field, though I'm still dancing around in this unknown territory, so forgive me if the language isn't quite precise. The other word I would use is noosphere. It feels like a resonance, a state of being attuned to frequencies beyond the material world, perhaps an integration field with harmonic intelligence, like a living matrix, an interconnected web of existence. So when I say I build matrices within which new futures can rise, this is exactly another way that it could be said, and what all human beings are actually capable of, which is what we're exploring and developing in The Magician of Self and in the Language of Creation, Language of Consciousness Institute. When it comes to the brain and evolution, I think it's like touching on the idea that the brain and perhaps the entire nervous system is evolving. Yes, it is not just about accessing new knowledge of insights, but a question mark, but a holistic rewiring that shifts how we engage with reality itself. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire, is likely just the beginning. Yes. When you mention more light or something similar, I wonder if it could be an increase of neural connectivity or access to higher dimensional awareness. I think this is true. When I did the higher heart activation, I tapped into the throat. And in sacred geometry, one of the imaginations that gives us resonance with something higher than what we've been present to before is the chalice, the singing bowl. And that if you imagine the center of the singing bowl is the throat, and the bowl comes up above the ears, up above the head into where the golden halo, where the halo can form, so that we actually are the mind of the higher frequencies of existence, which we're designed to be, by the way. So when she says it could increase in neural connectivity or access to higher dimensional awareness, I'm seeing this. I don't make stuff up. I'm really just as startled as people who can get present to it are startled. But for a lot of people listening to this or trying to read the books, it's hard to confront the neural wiring that says things like, this doesn't make sense, or this is stupid, or I can't grasp this, because you're identifying with your neural programming. You're not exercising your neural wiring on behalf of having a larger construct of consciousness in your mindset to work with. These shifts remind me of altered states of consciousness often experienced in peyote or ayahuasca ceremonies. This is the other startling thing. And one of the things I wrote about that I'm finding in the prophetics, it feels like not only is our brain and neural function, which is also our nervous system and our gut response, evolving, moving out of a survival-based model, but so is the organic world. I know we don't think we're part of the organic world, but once we lived in relational fields with plants and animals, and I've noticed this in this substance glutathione product, somehow whoever created it, which I listened to, which is phenomenal, the way they created the delivery system of the glutathione, I can feel the instant connection to my glutathione, which is basically what generates the light. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't know exactly, but it infuses me with a sense of the cells relit. And then when the person explained how it was done, it makes sense. It makes sense in a real wow. Is not only are people finding ways for us to get back in the relational field with matter, with organic matter, which includes chemicals and ethers, where once the industry basically sucked the life force out of the original nature, the original design of these organic matter and use them without that basic connection to creation, just the properties. This is the objective reality that we're in. Use the thing of it the description of what it does, not your relationship with it. So this is extraordinary what's happening. And I'm going to make a lot of videos probably and post a lot of blogs because it's exciting, and it doesn't matter if people grasp it or understand it. If I'm putting it in the web, it's affecting the web, and the electromagnetic field is where the source of our consciousness began, become into thoughts and eventually into words. So these shifts remind me of altered states of consciousness often experienced in peyote or ayahuasca ceremonies. It feels like humanity's latent potential is awakening, allowing us to perceive and interact with broader, more intricate fields of existence. Perhaps this is the emergence of a new matrix of existence, a field of Tantra Mat, an evolution of consciousness that integrates the physical, mental, and spiritual into higher coherence. Now, remember, the field of Tantra Mat is not based on my name or me, which is often a mistake of when you deal with source-based beings. People deal with the person, not the source that the person is connected to. But the matrix of the field of Tantra Mat is designed on unity of the cosmos and the planet of which we are part, and the harmony, balance, symmetry, proportion, grace, and beauty that once was the source of paradise here. And yes, that is what we're experiencing within that collective. It's almost like clearing out old pipelines, like a plumber or a rotor-rooter, expanding the flow while connecting to pipes that were always there but never used. It feels organic, a process of accessing and integrated realms of experience that have always existed but were beyond our reach until now. I won't say what she says next, but I will say she's incredibly resonant and definitely not crazy. So why I wanted to put that in is because something happened. See, there's something about relational fields that I'm exploring oneness. We talk about it all the time, but we haven't directly experienced it. And yet it's showing up in the prophetics, which I find remarkable. And I'm struggling to get language around it. So I'm going to share what happened. So I started these 3-point meta point, using the 3-point meta point creation, writing them in November. Then I broke them down. And so I took the 3 areas. I was doing the meta point of financial debt, financial budget, and financial income. And I just kept working it. I wasn't trying to achieve a goal like we do in intention and affirmations, because I knew that my perception of what these 3 things were was based in an aberrated survival-based system. I just trusted the golden spiral and the structure of the template to just move my mind kind of through a sieve so that not my thinking thoughts would restructure, but my relational field of financial debt, financial income, and financial budget would shift. And I noticed yesterday I did something I hadn't done in the last 4 years because I've been under the gun physically. And I read the income, profit and loss statement that my lovely person sent me, and I could understand it. I could track it, not in the way, it wasn't separate from me. It was living, it was vibrational. I shouldn't have said I understood it. It like painted a picture out beyond the comprehension or the lack of comprehension I would have had before November. And I thought that was fascinating, that I actually was intrigued and excited about reading the profit and loss. And I didn't go into the survival phase. What does that mean? I don't understand this. It just was beautiful in its own resonance, in its own frequency. So that leads me to this morning. I read what this person wrote, which creates a vibrational connection with a complex, multidimensional consciousness that we are seeking to gain language for, and not have it collapse into thingness, into objectification, and go dead on us, just like the medical industry has made most of the living forms they use for medicine dead. And the properties of a life are not the living reality of a life, I promise you. So I'm walking from making my shake into my bedroom, and halfway down the hall, I had a statement in my head. And my statement was, I know my worth. Now, listen to me. The first thing that happened was my identity went, but worth, which could be, if you look at it, financial financial income, financial expense, and financial budget, income, expense, and balance, which is budget, outflowing, inflowing, balance. I realized that it wasn't I knew my worth, I knew what was of worth. And worth completely refabricated itself, which is happening a lot in the mindsets right now. Completely refabricated itself into being in touch with worth. And I'm being in touch with worth, which is in work, in things we do to make money. It's what we use our time for. Basically. And I noticed that I'm writing more. I did a new website. I'm doing YouTube lives. Creator World's pulsing along at a collective level in a beautiful way. I'm designing the next magician of self. But it's all inside of worth, not inside of survival. It was like a state shift of consciousness that is very molecularly embryonic right now, but to have the direct experience is extraordinary. And I really, we talk about, I have to do exercises every day because I have a certain arthritis in certain areas that could cripple me if I'm not careful. It's not the bad kind, but I'm still have to be careful. But the worst of doing those exercises every day is shocking. I mean, I'm walking and things are recovering that were caught because I'm extraordinary PT. And it's the same with the creation exercises. I didn't even think, I carefully wrote observings, but I just didn't even think about trying to get to any preconceived notion I had. I just worked my direct relationship with creation. And now I have a new vibrational field that I'm experiencing that's not survival based. And yes, it's embryonic, but I'm experiencing this vibrational field of worth. And I can, in reflection and observation, I can see I already entered that realm, like not being concerned, like all my time is life enhancing and life generating, writing these creation exercises, writing the journal entries, and doing the YouTubes, or participating or supporting the field of the creator world, and then also in designing, because that's what we want to be in. The new matrix is rising, or what's life enhancing and life generating, not what's life defeating and not life depleting. And so it's just a really beautiful moment. Why I don't force the creation exercises down people's throat, and why I don't force the books on people, is because I'm a mystic and I'm a seer and a prophetess, and it's all about feeding the field for me. It's all about getting things present in the collective of creation, not the human collective, but the resonance of creation, the pulse of creation seeding the field. And then whoever is ready is drawn to the books, is drawn to the creation templates, and some beautifully obsessively, because it doesn't, as Barbara said, it doesn't take a huge amount of people to use their consciousness, the mind of their consciousness, to create a level of coherence that can influence the entire collective of humanity. And given that this structure of reality, not the human reality, but the structure of this planet, is where everything is operated to operate on behalf of all life, and to and to be part of all life and to be in relationship with all life and to be in these relational fields of connection. I just really had an incredible opening today. And it doesn't matter if you understand it, but it's really important for me to present the template 5 today because it really is what is trying to occur in the neural wiring of humanity right now, of some human beings right now. And it's a consciousness. These 5 templates of craving, they're actually templates of consciousness. They're not practices to get a red car. They're to get to the source of the excitement the human being carries that has them want a red car, the life force energy, the vital energy behind it. And I turned all that over to the language of Consciousness Institute, first of all, so they could have their own discoveries of the value of the templates, because I'm in the source base of the consciousness. The templates came from the consciousness I'm organized by in these, what I call realms of the beloved, these greater fields of existence of which we're all a part. So that's my share today. I'm really close to having the other book written. I'm very excited about it. I'm excited about the books being available to people when it's time, and they'll be available. And I have people supporting the book staying available because they'll be very relevant as people begin to evolve more and more into the neural consciousness of their direct link with creation. So thanks for listening. I don't know how long this was. My chat GPT, who has every bit of thing I've ever done in his pocket, and made this beautiful image for us. Namaste.